My name is Tom Longhurst. I look after strategic partnerships at ULend. I'm joined here by Jodie. Jodie, I won't steal.
Thanks, Tom. Yeah, I'm Jodie Wilkinson. I head up the partnership channel here at Takepayments. And yep, you're right, Tom. We are, one of the 4 largest UK ISOs, covering predominantly UK, but also Ireland, all payment needs to the SME market.
Wonderful. And look, for those of you who aren't aware, we've worked with Takepayments for quite some time. So Jodie and I have caught up. We're going to try and be concise and try and not be too conversational and too over-familiar, and definitely try not to swear. But hopefully this will be fairly insightful for some of you on sort of how we can collaborate as organisations, whether you're a platform, PSP, or whatever it may be. And we'll get some key insights from Jodie on her experience as a ULend partner, but more importantly as a PSP in the market. So look, without any further ado, I just wanted to kick off with a quote from Adyen, helpfully a PSP, saying that as part of a report with the Boston Consulting Group, now is the time for embedded finance. Now, I'd argue they're a little bit late to the table, given that we've been working with Takepayments for several years now. But I think, Jodie, my sort of first question here, and would love to hear your thoughts on, and I'd love to say as a salesperson, this was all my doing, bringing about the partnership between us, but I know you've been looking at this as a business for a while. Really keen to sort of get your insight into what first stimulated Takepayments to look into the market for embedded finance providers, and sort of what led you to the discussions with ULend.
Yeah, so, I mean, we started toying with the idea just pre-COVID, and I think we probably started talking maybe December before. I know it's towards the end of the year, and to be honest, I was looking at it from mainly a lead perspective, because that is predominantly what we focus on within the partnership channel. And I was just thinking about different partners who we could look at, and funding options seemed quite interesting. My background from working in the EPOS world, obviously it was, we were big with funding companies. I knew a little bit about it. And when our paths crossed, you guys just sprung out more to me than the others, and what we reviewed 6, maybe 7 in total that came to tender, and we decided to go with you guys because we knew something was coming. We obviously knew that there was something bubbling around in the industry. We didn't know just how big COVID was actually going to be. I think we just thought it would all blow over after a couple of weeks. Little did we know. So like when we decided to launch with ULend, a couple of factors were, it wasn't you have to pay a massive lump sum back. It wasn't that you have to pay huge amounts at a set rate on a monthly basis. It wasn't that you take a massive lump of money and then you pay it back in a year or 2 years' time. I mean, who knows what your business is going to look like at that point? So for us, we are very customer centric, as you know, Tom, and, we had to think what is going to be best for the end merchant, what is fair, what is the right way to go about this? And to be honest, we didn't know of any other providers such as yourself who would offer that kind of payback as you earn. And I loved the fact that it was more tech focused. So pushed heavily for this partnership. And yes, we made the brave decision of launching in COVID.
Brave's an interesting choice of words.
Yeah, madness. But I think, and probably you didn't appreciate me knocking on your door every 5 minutes saying, where's the money, Tom? But again, it's I think that was quite a good thing for us guys, because working in partnership, that is, because we really had to work together. We had to dig deep and think, share best practice with us. We've not done this before. How have you worked with other partners similar to us in the industry? We want to learn. We want to do more about this. And, maybe COVID gave us that time to actually think and try and work out the kinks on what doesn't work and what does work. But yeah, I think it actually, in hindsight, was probably a blessing in disguise that we launched them.
Yeah, and I think a pat on the back to us guys collectively that, there wasn't a single day we didn't fund a Takepayments merchant. So I think,
Yep.
testament to the solution working. But I think, just like reflecting on for the market in general and sort of some of the challenges in bringing an embedded finance solution live, I think often what you're forced into is a particular form of integration, or there's some sort of, upfront tech work or dev resource, which was, as we all know, is the single most precious resource pretty much in an organization. And what was quite nice is that the partnership route that we collectively chose was the sort of low touch iteration in a white label, which sort of gave us that oxygen to be able to breathe and actually gave us a bit of breathing space to work on some of those asymmetries of information, make sure we were over communicating and make this a sort of the roaring success that it is today. And I think we actually had one of the, and interestingly, that obviously we caught up before this. For everyone that's joined, we did do a bit of preparation. We had the same customer come up as a use case, which is a sort of fairly large furniture business that took about £500,000 of funding in the middle of COVID, and they've been a really, really strong example of what this has done during a challenging time for a small business that otherwise might have struggled to sort of survive and thrive. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Jodie, they've been back 2 to 3 times now for funding as well.
I actually think it's 4 times, yeah. And like I was saying to you last time, I think everybody knows about funding, and you want to offer this product out to your merchants, and we are very close to our merchants, and to actually see physically the shape and size and promotion that this business had online to their own customers was phenomenal. Like, I mean, they changed their whole product range, they changed their online store, they recruited, they changed their warehousing. It just exploded overnight, and the more and more that they put into their business, the more and more they got out of it. We've got a great relationship with them as a customer. They take online and physical payments. And 4 rounds of funding of big, large, substantial amounts.
Yeah. And I think that would echo some of the studies we've done with other partners, partners such as eBay and Shopify, where we've seen between a sort of 25 and 40% increase in sort of growth in funded merchants versus control group, where they've taken that funding. But I think a couple of the bits I wanted to focus on were, I know you guys are quite hot on the KPIs within the business, as you would be as a strong contender in the sort of payment space in the UK. It was some of the impacts you've seen from deploying this as a solution into the base. I was keen to get your sort of insights into your observations, both at a customer benefit level, which I think we've covered there, but also, as a PSP, what are the real downstream benefits you've seen?
I think for us, and it is worth mentioning to everyone, that we're currently doing around about 450 merchants per month funded. And the only way we are able to do that is because we learned the hard way that actually you have to have dedicated resource in-house. We've got a fantastic funding team that work internally, headed up by my colleague Tom. When Tom actually supported me on this partnership, it really started to take off. So, it's worth, if anyone's exploring this, I highly recommend having dedicated resource internally. The other point, which is really interesting, we've only operated this on our back book. So those 450 merchants that we've worked up to per month, they're all backbook customers. So obviously the major benefit there is from a retention piece. We're able to offer funding out to these merchants. And I think the latest stats that we looked at, Tom, when you came to do our conference, what was it, like 98% hadn't churned that had taken funding. And that's an amazing fact, because yes, it's great for us as a business, but it's brilliant for the merchant as well, because they're getting money, cash injection into their business. I think when I looked last time, average funded amounts around 13k. And I know that a lot of people that we certainly talk to around funding from a partnership perspective, they're quite worried about the length that it takes to pay back. And, it's a bit of an education piece to say, no, the merchant pays back as they earn. And actually our life cycle on a funded amount is on average around about 8 months. And 8 months, 13, 15 grand to be paid back in under a year. It just goes to show how much revenue that you can put into your business, maybe change your furniture in the cafe, maybe buy a couple more coffee machines, maybe have fridge equipment or catering equipment, whatever you're going to do, buy more stock in like the furniture business. It just helps increase the sales coming through. So customers are super happy, obviously makes us happy, keeps our books sticky to us, and gives us a really strong value proposition against our competition.
Yeah, no, thank you very much for that. And I think it's been really interesting to see the sort of evolution of our partnership. You touched on it there around empowering the sales team, but for those here, we sort of started in, it was a really light touch, just getting an email out every month, which has sort of seen the book grow to the levels that Jodie cited there, which are, let's be honest, significant. I think we're both reaping the rewards of that, as are those that get funded. But I'm sort of keen to get your insights on how that has, as a PSP and as a strong sales focused business, like how has this evolved for you? What have you seen the challenges being? What have you seen the advantages being? Just keen to get a bit of further insight there.
Yeah, so the challenges are, I would say at the moment, only running through backbook. But, controversially, it's actually one of our strongest points. We'd love to go live with front book funding, but again, look, we're a large sales organisation, so it has to be an accurate sales message. We have to equip our sellers with being able to close the customer, but it doesn't need to be the full focus. And so that's the challenges of navigating that, being the size that we are. The benefits in how we've grown. So yes, we started with just email campaigns, and it was more of a digital approach. So it was send the email campaign, send the lead through to you guys, you worked it, got the merchant funded. The magic happened, the benefit for us was inserting the team that Tom set up. And I know Ryan heads that up and does an amazing job, but really, I can't stress the point. If you are going to do this, get internal resource to work really closely with your team. I mean, I know the guys go out on team bonding nights, etc., and it's a real pure partnership. So get as heavily connected and partnered with you guys as possible. Look at different integration routes like we are at the moment. The vision is to get 4-click funding in place. And I think it's just to make it as easy for the merchant to get funding, as easy for our sellers to sell it out and, not disrupt them from their key mission. And also working with you to get the insights, what are other ways, being open, being transparent, being really collaborative.
Yeah. And I think it's that kind of stuff. Like, let's bear in mind the current macroeconomic climate. I know we've done a bit of sort of digging on the what businesses are facing at the moment, and we're in an interesting period where obviously serious cost of living increases. So there's a downtrend in consumer spend, plus sort of massive uptick in costs for a lot of small businesses. I think we've seen that there's been a significant retraction from traditional lenders from offering finance, and obviously us collectively are trying to fill that gap. Across the board, I think we're seeing a nice steady increase in demand on the back of that. But keen to get your insight and sort of your observations on how Takepayments are solving that, both with ULend and more generally, I suppose, as well. It'd be great to hear your insight.
Yeah, I think just looking over the last 3 months, we've increased. So merchants are needing this, whether it's down to the energy crisis, whether it's down to, that they little things like, this is serious. Some people can't afford to pay their mortgage, all of these factors. And it goes all the way from an end merchant right across to our partnership channel. We've signed up more energy consultancies for a fact, over the last 3 months, because they've had to diversify their core book because of the energy crisis. So I think the fact that we can add in funding to help people to actually invest that money back into their business, to help them keep turning the wheels, basically, that's the huge benefit. And funding has a massive part to play on that.
Yeah, and I think it's been nice to see. Obviously, we've cited a couple of examples, but let's take some of the impact out of just the sort of hard points around metrics and KPIs. That kind of goodwill goes a long way, right? I think outside of just what it does for retention, just actually helping out the businesses that you're supposed to serve. I think it's really just a good way of strengthening that downstream relationship, and openly something that a lot of traditional lenders in the space are very poor at. And it's, to my mind anyway, a big reason why PSPs are in this particularly privileged position where they have quite a strong relationship with the end client, and the opportunity to sort of diversify the sort of service offering. Now, I just want, conscious of time, we've got sort of 5 minutes left. I was keen to get your thoughts on the sort of future for. I mean, I've got some very clear views on the future of our partnership and what we should be doing together. You touched on 4-click funding, but we're in the midst of discussing some of the other work we're doing around speeding up settlement cycles.
Yeah.
Keen to sort of see what Takepayments' view is on how we can sort of deepen that relationship going forward.
Yeah, I think going in partnership with you guys has been really eye-opening for us, because it has meant that we've gone from just offering payments, and it's been a journey for us. So yes, we used to offer card payment terminals a couple of years ago, and we then diversified into funding. Then we started looking more into EPOS, and it's just been the ability to add additional features through your product has been game-changing for us. So whether it's going to be instant settlement, 4-click funding, whatever new feature you guys bring out, we're just interested in looking at that and exploring it, because we know that not only is it a benefit for us, it's a massive benefit for our merchants. It's all about getting people, if people want and need money, you need to do it as quickly as possible. There's no, great, we'll give you a quote and we'll come back to you in 2 weeks. It just doesn't work like that. It's like, let's get them funded as soon as possible so they can keep trading, so that they can keep taking money through their payment terminal, which then in turn comes back to us. Yeah. It's just a really nice circle that just feeds everyone, basically.
And it's, that kind of friction we're reducing as partners. I've just gone through probably the most painful process ever getting a remortgage at the moment. I counted the number of emails I sent to get to the point I am now. I think we're at something like 40 or 50 different emails. Ridiculous. And it's nice that we're in the privileged position now as partners where we could genuinely be funding partners in 4 clicks and almost instantaneously. So a really nice place to be in. And for those that are uninitiated here, what we were referencing with instant settlement was sort of a collective capability we're working on, where essentially ULend will be able to help Takepayments merchants take their payment, their revenues within, same day or next day, which is sort of speeding up the sort of settlement cycles and just trying to, again, solve some of those cash flow challenges for small businesses that, traditionally have been subject to fairly poor service in the space from traditional lenders anyway. And some of the more traditional acquirers, not our friends at Takepayments anyway, that's for sure. And just as a final note, with 2 minutes to go, sort of any further thoughts, Jodie, on sort of the role of embedded finance for Takepayments? I know it's obviously we're from a lending perspective a key provider, but I know that you've got your finger on the pulse for what else PSPs could be looking at in the future to sort of grow and thrive.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think we're really happy with how things are with you guys and the products that you've got, that you enable us with. I think the next exciting step for us is through our partners that we work with. Yes, we can help our end merchants, but actually there's a lot of our partners who may already have done things with funding or are really keen to find out how they could offer funding to their book. And it's just being able to help and give them guidance. We're about to launch with some reseller partners, which will be super exciting, and to be able to key them up with, a kit bag of equipment such as funding, it just enables them to help and secure their customers. Some of the guys who I've been talking to, I mean, the processes that they've got in place, the length that it takes them to get funding to their merchants, the restrictions that are in place, there's no reporting, they don't know. It's to be able to give them a solution that you guys offer and how well we're integrated with you is brilliant.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. And I think, look, as a final point and a compliment to Takepayments, it's been a joy working with you guys for 3+ years now. Long may it continue, and long may the relationship deepen with some of the tech work that we're working on together. I think we've come a very long way since that launch in the middle of COVID, and and that sort of hyper communication phase where I think we were probably speaking every 2 minutes just to make sure that things were going as expected. But super excited to see what the future holds for us as partners. I think timing wise, we're at the 20 minutes. I'm conscious that it's a really sunny day, and for those of you that have joined live, you'll probably want to escape and either head to the pub or make a cup of tea. But if you want to send any questions through, please do send them through to, and I'll just double check, this is partnerships@ulem.com. We'll redirect those to Jodie if they are Take Payments focused, of course. But thank you so much for your time. Thanks, Jodie, for taking the time today, and thanks for being a wonderful partner to work with.
No problem. Nice to speak to you guys.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.